When we thought of Portugal, little did we know how much happiness this beautiful country would give us. In Portugal, we are making a dream we once had into a reality.
Leaving our beloved country, which was way too busy, in search of a quieter, more fulfilling life, Portugal is a place that is still pretty affordable for normal folks like us.
But since we have been through it all and came out of this experience super happy, we would like to share our top tips to make your experience easier.
So here are 6 helpful tips when buying land in Portugal. And don't forget, stick around to the end to see our bonus extra tip.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Luke.
And I'm Sarah, and this is our first tip. Tip number 1, neighbors matter. This is very important when you're moving to a place, especially a small community or a small village. Not only the area, if you have never been to Portugal and are already deciding to come here like we did, it's good to know all the regions, because every different region has something amazing and different to offer. So you should find out first if that region is good for you.
Yeah, definitely shop around there and go around all the places you can.
When you find a place that you really like, if you go at different times of the day and different days of the week, this really helps. You get to know your neighbors, you get to know the noises of around that area.
I have a friend who bought a piece of land over here with the intent of opening a yoga retreat, so nice and peaceful and everything. And then after they moved on, even though their neighbors weren't actually living there, it was more of an agricultural land around them, most of them had dogs tied up on the land, so it was like barking non-stop, which isn't really peaceful for a yoga retreat. So make sure you check out, once you've decided on a property, visit at different times and different days.
Yes.
Tip number 2, don't stick with one agency. There's so many different agencies and they all have their own properties. So it really makes sense just to go to all of them, and also check out sites like olx.pt, Pure Portugal, Facebook groups, Idealista. Really spread out your search so you have a better chance of finding that property that you're going to fall in love with, hopefully. If you like this video so far and you think it's going to help you out with your search to find a property in Portugal, give us a nice thumbs up.
We post weekly vlogs on our life in Portugal, so if you like that sort of thing, consider subscribing.
And if you want to support us further, you can head on down to Patreon, where we post Monday weekly updates and you get to see the videos earlier. So you can go there if you want to do that.
Head on down to Patreon and I will see you on the inside. Tip number 3, get a lawyer. It is really worth the extra few hundred maybe that it will cost, but it will set your mind at rest and it will make sure that you are really getting what you think you are getting. You need someone who has your back from this country, who speaks the language you speak.
Yeah, it is a bit of a minefield. There's a lot of horror stories, so you really need to do this. Don't try, you're gonna skimp and save a couple of hundred, like Sarah said, on the lawyer. You really need it.
Yes, because the property that you buy is a huge investment, so you don't want it to go wrong. You want a good experience, not a sad and frustrating one. A lawyer will help you out with drawing up the contract, checking if there are any debts on the property, because you can inherit the debts if you buy the property. This is what it's like in Portugal. And they will also check the legal status of the buildings.
Yeah, and maybe it's worth taking your lawyer to the local council of the parish that you're buying property in, just to check about all the permits and legalities of actually living there. So it's good to take someone, even if it's someone else Portuguese speaking, if you don't speak the language, just to go to the Câmara or the Junta and speak to them and just make sure everything is above board.
Yeah.
Tip number 4, historical preservation is really important here, so just make sure that everything is above board. Make sure all the buildings that you have on the land you're thinking of buying are all legal. Make sure you get any permits and paperwork from the previous owners of any works on all the buildings you have on the land, and if not, see if they can be legalized before you actually buy it.
Tip number 5, sunny Portugal is actually really cold in winter.
It gets pretty humid in winter, and the houses here, many of them, especially the older builds, are not insulated at all.
So the houses can get very cold, and if you don't have a heating system in place, it can be a really big expense afterwards. Landscape also changes. What you saw in winter as lush and green could look like a desert in summer.
So be aware.
Yes, be aware.
Tip number 6, negotiate hard. I know a lot of people who have even brought it down by 25%. For us, it was strange because in Malta, where we're from, we don't negotiate that hard, but over here, you can.
They actually put up the price just because they know that you're going to negotiate.
So that's our 6 top tips. But before we go, here's our last bonus tip. Sarah?
This extra special tip. If you are not afraid of hard work, we suggest you look at the potential of the land. Don't look at it ready, and because you'll probably be paying more for it if it looks beautiful already. Like for us, we got a piece of land that was covered
Totally
in
abandoned.
bushes. Totally abandoned. We didn't know what we had really. And you will get a much cheaper price for abandoned and unkept land. You'll get so much joy out of unwrapping it. Every day we're still excited and we can't wait to get up in the morning and go and clear land. Looking forward to what we will find underneath. And one last thing, good luck and have fun. And if you want to find out what to look for when buying land in Portugal so you don't make the same mistakes that others have made, go and watch this one next. If you know about some things that can go wrong when buying land here, then they are less likely to happen to you.
Be prepared!